All right, it's time now for Media Watch, and Eve Irvine is in the studio, and you've been taking a look at what is buzzing online today, Eve. And Kenya, I imagine, is getting a lot of coverage and a lot of reaction online. Very impressive turnout in those elections. We've been looking at the pictures, haven't we, of snaking poll queues.
And rolling in all day, photos, videos, you know, on Twitter, on Facebook, on all the social media, and indeed across the world. Very impressive ones. We've seen perhaps the longest queue in Kenya, and it's a little video, and it just literally goes on and on. If it will play, even the man walks fluidly through, but it keeps snaking, as you say. And one man reacted to this video saying that he joined the queue at 5 a.m. this morning and got to vote at 2 p.m. So that's 9 hours. I wonder, would I be quite so good in my civic duty? And that's something another woman picks up on, saying, you know, I wonder if only politicians displayed such similar levels of that civic duty. That's from the International Crisis Group. And to just show the level of motivation, one woman in Kenya went into labour while she was queuing this morning.
Story, isn't it?
Indeed. She gave birth at the polling station, nipped off to the clinic just to make sure everything was okay, but actually went back to cast her ballot later in the afternoon.
Impressive, very impressive. And I hear people were even fingerprinting babies, because if you took a child or a baby with you, you could jump the queue. So people were borrowing each other's babies. So they had to put a stop to that.
She even named
pretty
her
quickly.
baby Election.
She did not. All right. Now, people are really motivated, aren't they? But this is not just a presidential election today, is it? There are lots of elections going on.
There's 6 different ballots going on, and that's part of their motivation, if you like. And, you know, when you look at those images of the queues, it looks like Nairobi in particular is crammed to capacity. But one article I picked up in the New York Times, an opinion piece by Michelle Wrong, says that actually it's not as busy as it normally is, this city, because since the violence, post-election violence in 2007, when over 1,000 people were killed, there's a sort of exodus before votes now across the country in a lot of different areas. The price of bus tickets doubles, triples, as notably women and children are put on buses and sent out of any potential danger. Tensions again high in these elections. While in 2013 things passed off more relatively peacefully, the race here again between the two men incredibly tight. That increases tension. But one interesting thing in this article says that since 2010 there's been constitutional changes. So the president and the parliamentary's power isn't quite as big as it was in the past, and that kind of decreases the pressure, if you like, or even, you know, the ethnic group that the president would belong to has less of an influence. So that seems to have lowered tensions on some levels. Of course, we'll just have to wait and see how well this voting goes.
Yes, we'll have to wait for the result as well, which could take a couple of days yet. All right, a story a bit closer to home now, Eve. Now, this is a French farmer who is considered by many to be something of a good Samaritan. He basically helped migrants across the border from Italy. Judges disagreed, though, and today handed him a suspended jail sentence.
4-month suspended sentence for the French olive farmer, and it's a French story, but it's getting international attention across in Belgium. You know, just a very factual article saying, you know, this, you know, someone who wanted to help refugees has now been sentenced for human trafficking. And across in America, you know, they're even saying in Emmanuel Macron's France, helping illegal immigrants is a crime. One farmer paying the price. A lot of people saying, you know, there's one scapegoat. The man himself says, Cédric Héroux says, this won't be the end of it. He's going to continue, you know, what he's doing. He feels that citizens have to step in when the state is failing, which he believes France
Right, he's unrepentant, isn't he? And that's part of the reason he got the sentence.
And technically, what he did to bring people across from Italy to France is illegal, but there are politicians, you know, supporting him. José Bové, the French MEP, saying it's intolerable that he's got a stronger sentence than when he was first sentenced. This was an appeal back in February. He says solidarity is not a crime, but the way France is welcoming migrants is. Of course, then you have centre-right politicians that welcome today's decision, saying, you know, what this farmer was doing is, you know, just militantism, even a dangerous one, according to some. He's putting, you know, human lives under more distress and actually, you know, profiting from vulnerable people. Definitely a man that divides. And, you know, some people online are, you know, even linking this to other news about migration. This man says that Cédric Héroux has been punished for trying to help refugees, while, you know, these far-right anti-immigrant groups that are trying to prevent the rescue missions into the Mediterranean are going unpunished.
Absolutely. It's a very hot and controversial issue, that one, isn't it? Because these rescue missions in the Mediterranean are becoming complicated, aren't they? The Italian government has tried to step in with new rules and regulations for NGOs, and as you mentioned, you've got these right-wing extremists who are hiring their own ships to basically stop the migrants from coming.
That's the front page of Le Monde today, says, you know, migrants we want to criminalise NGOs, and that's the words of Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders, who really reject these new rules being put in place by the Italian government that would see them wanting to put police forces on NGO boats. The NGOs are having none of it, saying we're a humanitarian mission, nothing to do with politics.
Let's end on a lighter note.
A very much lighter note. Yes, indeed. Despite everything going on in the world, the most notable images today, the top trending on Twitter is hashtag International Cat Day, and this may be the most tweeted photo. You can see there the missing cat, which isn't quite so missing.
All right, you'll have to check that one out yourself. International Cat Day trending online. Eve, thank you very much indeed. Eve Irvine there.